Frank Kuhn, and I was on sabbatical in fall of 2010. As part of my sabbatical, I went to New York City, directed a play in New York City on the Lower East Side, and shortly after that I went on to Sacramento to direct an opera, Orlando, for the Sacramento Opera Company. And in between time I stopped in Salt Lake City and worked with some colleagues on a book that we're writing. The opera itself is about a very visceral jealousy. It's about love and quite frankly lust and jealousy. It's based on Orlando Furioso, which is the story of Roland, Orlando, who neglects his duties as one of Charlemagne's knights because he's so upset that his loved one has fallen in love with somebody else, in fact with an enemy. And so it's a very visceral piece, and I wanted to see if there was a way that we could do it and sort of talk about that human interaction and avoid the kind of ditz and glitz and big production that Baroque opera seems to so often call for. In Orlando, there's, according to the score, there's a point where an eagle flies down bearing an urn of magic potion and gives it to the magician in the piece, who then spills this magic potion on our hero. And there's another point where a cloud comes down and sweeps up our heroine, and that sort of thing. And it's the kind of stuff that even if we could do it, we wouldn't want to, because after Star Wars and Harry Potter, it would just look stupid. So what we needed to do was to find a different way to accomplish those moments. And that's when we came up with the idea of using dancers, for one thing, what I call theater magic, which is the magic that happens when the people on stage collaborate with the audience's creative imaginations. So we used dancers, we added dancers, and we used projections. So at moments when supposedly the stage Zoroastro changes the environment from a woods to a cave, in fact, we just changed a projection in the background. I said, well, I want to do a melodrama. I want to do a melodrama so I can see if there is some real value in the sort of emotionally saturated form. It struck me that there's something truly theatrical in a melodrama. And again, this was like Orlando. This was, ooh, I want to see if I can do this. I mean, if I know I can do it, it's not that interesting to me. But I said, oh, okay, well, let's see what we can do. So it was really fun to work with the actors and to have them really dig in. You know, if you really wanted to hurt somebody in the melodrama, you really wanted to hurt them. So you were truly pretty evil and booable if people felt so inclined. But it wasn't boo first and then think about it later. It was, if you booed, it was because you were pretty upset. If I were to say, what do I hope people came out of the play thinking? I hope they came out of the play sort of understanding that just because the people in the 19th century lived a long time ago doesn't mean that they knew less about human beings or less about the heart than we do. That's my job, is to say, what do these have to do with me? I mean, because if we don't do something that has, if we don't do something that has something to do with the audience, why would they be there? I mean, they go there supposedly, I like to think they go there to sort of celebrate human beings' possibilities and their own possibilities. So what's going on stage should have something to do with them, and that's what I'm describing in Orlando. As I said to my cast early on, the opera singers, I said, you know, the people in this opera really suffer. I mean, they go through a lot of pain because of there's jealousy all over the place, and there's passion all over the place, and there's remorse, but at the same time, the opera celebrates the fact that we have these feelings as human beings. The opera says, aren't these awful things to feel, but isn't it wonderful that we can feel them, that we have that possibility. Next is I'm back teaching here, and I'm directing one of the 10-minute plays here in our Festival of 10 that opens at the very end of February. And then after that, I'm going to go down to Muhlenberg Music Theater in Allentown this summer and direct Godspell. And that's as far as I'm booked right now.